going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, today's video is going to be an absolute massive one because for me personally, I think that what I'm about to go ahead and tell you guys is going to be a massive chance for the whole FPS genre to finally have at least a decent style of a comeback. Now, of course, before I go ahead and get into the actual topic of today's video, I do want to mention, if you do enjoy what you see on this channel and you want a little bit extra, I actually live stream every single day over my Twitch channel, besides Sundays, of course, starting at around 10 to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and we usually run it for about, I would say, 5 hours, so you have plenty of time to go ahead and hop in if you want to chat with us, socialize. Of course, you guys know me. I'm always extremely active when it comes to the chat, so, of course, if you want to, like I said, talk a little bit more with me, besides from YouTube, that is the best place to go ahead and do so. And also, we always run open lobbies, so if you want people to play with or need a squad, of course, whether we're playing Call of Duty, Battlefield, Halo Infinite, even, other games that are just coming out like the finals. It doesn't matter what game it is. We always run open lobbies. So, of course, if you want to partake in any of that stuff, you can find the link to my Twitch channel down in the description of this video. Now, ladies and gentlemen, like I said a little bit earlier, I really do believe that the information I'm about to share with you guys is going to leave a ton of you extremely happy, especially if you are a hardcore FPS fan. If you are like me and you do enjoy branching off and trying other games, as you see on this channel, I do test different stuff out from time to time, but at the end of the day, I always somehow gravitate back to either first-person shooter games or even third-person shooter games. I don't really play Fortnite, but things like, Gears of War, I used to play Uncharted back in the day, shoot, even The Last of Us multiplayer. I mean, I love anything that has, a shooting aspect or, some type of competitive edge. Man, I am obsessed with those games, and we gotta be real here. This genre has been suffering for an extremely long time now. FPS games, even third-person shooter games, don't have as much passion anymore. Well, I shouldn't say third-person shooter games because a lot of third-person shooter games besides Fortnite really focus on single-player heavily, but first-person shooters, I feel like this genre just really suffers tremendously when it comes to very fun multiplayer experiences. It suffers from live service, it suffers from horrible, management, it suffers from very greedy publishers. It's a very rough scene that we are in. Now, of course, there have been a lot of content creators coming out and trying to design their own games, and I really do appreciate that. To me personally, I really don't care about the budget behind a game. I don't care if it's graphically outstanding. I just care about the fun factor, And a lot of these content creators have been able to develop these games that definitely have that fun factor, that are very addicting, very fun to play, and really give you those OG, passionate vibes. But of course, we really need something that will step up to the plate and put these publishers in their place when it comes to these games that they're releasing nowadays. And the only way to do that is, again, to make a game that can compete with these publishers. And the only way to do that is to have an extremely fat budget. Now, like I said, there has been a decent amount of content creators that have put out their own titles, but I don't think many of them have, the budget to really compete at that level. Now, there has been one, Dr. Disrespect, but you already know my opinion about the overall scene. I think it's very interesting. It's very intriguing that, you could potentially go in and find things that are worth real money in his actual, game, but at the end of the day, let's be realistic here. It's not going to work. The second that everybody heard that NFTs was going to be, absolutely shoved into the overall experience, and it's going to be one of the biggest parts of the experience, people are really going to want to play that game a lot so they can find these things inside raids and make real money. Hearing all of this information really, it already proved to me before the game has released that things are not going to be going in the right direction. So I think at this point, a lot of people have given up hope that Dr. Disrespect's game is going to come and really set these publishers in their place. But just recently, Shroud announced that he's going to go ahead and be putting together, along with another YouTuber, and obviously, not just them, is going to be a massive development team backing them up as well, but they are going to be funding and trying to put together a brand new FPS experience. Now, I'll tell you why I personally am extremely excited about this situation here because, honestly, out of all the content creators that I could put my trust in to put together a solid title, it would simply be Shroud. I gotta be honest, this is the best case scenario in my personal opinion. There's a lot of other people out there, but let's be honest. Shroud has the experience. He knows what makes a really good FPS game, whether it's casually or competitively. He knows the whole overall scene. And at the same time, he's a very fair, respectful, level-minded individual. He might get a little feisty from time to time, but he is one of the most level-headed individuals I've ever listened to. And again, it's hard for people that large of a size, people who have that much of a following to keep it straight without fumbling every once in a while. But he has been able to keep a really solid track record. with like I said, throughout all the people that I could put my faith in to put together a good FPS game, it would be Shroud. I got to be honest. I can't lie when I say that I am pretty darn excited. Now, I'm not overly excited because I don't want to overextend myself out there and, leave myself vulnerable and then obviously be extremely disappointed. But again, I'm not going to lie with how I feel. I want to see what they are actually able to put together. Now, to be a little bit more specific here, it is going to be a survival FPS. So it's not going to be like your Call of Duty or like your Battlefield where it's going to be massive all-out wars or, small arena warfare, something like that. It's going to be a survival game. Now, of course, this isn't going to really, be the best thing for everybody, but I personally think this is going to be phenomenal. And I really hope a lot of people aren't going to allow this to persuade their mindset so easily. Survival games are actually really solid, and I just feel like console players haven't really been able to dig their teeth deep into very good survival games. Now, I can't say they haven't been able to experience any good ones, but there's a lot of good stuff out there. Stuff like, Escape from Tarkov, even though it's an extraction mode, I would still say that's, pretty much survival to a certain extent. Stuff like DayZ, H1Z1 back in the day, before it turned into a battle royale. These survival games, they're really fun, but a lot of people didn't get to really experience them. Console players have been very secluded with what they've been able to get. Now, to be honest, I don't know if they're going to extend this game over to console just yet, but I guarantee it'll probably happen at some point in time. You know what I'm saying? It's just how the gaming scene is going now. Games are trying to port to pretty much everything across the board. I mean, shoot, even Call of Duty is trying to port over to the Nintendo Switch now. You know what I'm saying? People are understanding how much money can be made in this field, so they're going to make sure that it could be workable enough on all platforms. Now, the game will more than likely probably launch on PC first, but I guarantee it'll be designed a certain way from the ground up that it won't be the hardest of hardest challenges to port it over to console, but obviously it's going to take a lot of work regardless. But back to the main point that I was on. Please don't let the fact that this game being a survival FPS, don't let the fact of that turn you away from it and not give it a shot. The way I think I can describe it to you guys the best so people can truly understand, a really good survival game. Think of a battle royale. Since battle royales are so extremely popular, I don't really care for them that much anymore. I used to, but I kind of fell out of the phase. But think of a battle royale, but instead of, obviously the end game being the last person alive, you're just surviving. It's just never ending. You can go around the world. You have to find the loot. You have to find supplies. You have to find meds. You have to find things that can help you thrive, prosper, possibly base building, forming factions, forming teams, and all of this stuff is going on live and in action in the same server. And again, you're just surviving. It's more tactics involved. It's more things involved. It's more entertainment involved, in my personal opinion, because the possibilities are completely endless. And of course, line it up with good FPS mechanics. These games are popping, trust me. A lot of people think that survival games always pop off because of the survival aspect. They do, but trust me, there's always a massive portion of a survival fan base that is obsessed with the FPS aspect or just the shooting aspect or the competitive, aspect of the whole overall game. Because it's addicting. It's addicting to get into the game, and everybody knows that if they die, that's it, really, You're going to lose a lot of stuff at the end of the day. It's very competitive. It's very intense. And of course, it's not always going to be the sweatiest experience, but when you get into gunfights, it's a whole different feel. It's a whole different adrenaline rush. I think that this is going to be great, especially since, a little while ago, I was listening to one of Shroud's streams and I heard him say this, and I hope, I'm not saying that this is going to be how his game is, because nobody knows. All he did was announce the name and who's doing, be behind the scenes developing it. So we have no clue the direction he's taking. But man, I was listening to one of his streams and he said that he just wants Tarkov to take, a direction because he likes the game. He loves the game, but he wants it to take a direction where, just it's no limit. It's not going to be 30 minutes on the clock. It's not going to be 40 minutes on the clock. You just go at it. You have fun. You do what you want to do. You can explore for as long as you want to explore. If you die, then you lose it. You staying in for a long time is you risking it at your own cost, right? At your own expense. But you can leave whenever you want. You can extract with whatever you have whenever you want, so on and so forth. But don't put people on a timer. And I thought that concept was really cool, really unique. And a lot of people have problems with that, but that's pretty much what, DayZ is. That's pretty much what Rust is. These games run on 24/7 servers that pretty much, barely ever shut down. If you get offline, you're risking it for the biscuit. You're hoping that nothing's going to happen to your stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I can see the problems with cheaters being involved if it's no time limit. They could just run rampant throughout these games. But at the end of the day, cheaters are going to be there. Cheaters are cheaters. You always run into that situation. I would love to see a game that has, the vibes of Tarkov where, it's an economy, you can trade stuff with other people, we the people make the cost of the items, but it just being an open world survival FPS. Just that combination would be absolutely absurd, insane. And I am really excited to see what Shroud has in store. But even further from that point, that's not really what, makes me most excited. Like I said a little bit earlier, what makes me most excited is the fact that Shroud's working on it, okay? It's been a long time since we've seen any type of shooting game that actually feels really good when it comes to the shooting, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but it seems like a lot of developers don't put a massive emphasis on the shooting, the mouse input, the aim, how you actually feel when you are shooting. That's like one of the biggest, most crucial things for any FPS game, right? But it seems like a lot of developers don't really focus on it. And it's understandable because coming from their viewpoint, they're coming from a massive business, a massive corporation. And these publishers are looking at these games and they're thinking, okay, we have to make very flashy trailers. It has to be beautiful. It has to be gorgeous. It has to look stunning. It has to have a great storyline, so on and so forth. And yeah, all of these things are very, very important components as well. Don't get me wrong if you want to sell a game, but that's all they focus on. They don't think about the core of the game, the fundamental, the shooting, and that's so crucial when it comes to first-person shooter games. And Shroud, out of anybody else in the world, is the person that I trust. Now, again, of course, it's not him, sitting there developing it. It's going to be developers behind the scenes, but he's going to have a massive say, and he's going to be right there every step of the way, fine-tuning it with them, working with them to perfect the system to make it, a great FPS title. I'll be honest with you guys, I am extremely excited to see what's going to be in store here. And I think there's going to be tons of potential behind these doors. And honestly, I don't mind getting excited about this game because right now I have plenty of games to play. It used to be a time where I barely wanted to touch anything, but Battlefield 2042 is at a spot where I'm enjoying it. Halo Infinite has finally, slowly crept its way up to a spot where I do enjoy it, and I think it's at a pretty decent spot. The finals, X-Defiant's going to be launching soon. Man, it's some good stuff out there right now. Dead Island 2. I mean, God. I'm really excited to see what the future of 2023 is going to hold, or whenever this game is going to come. 2024, 2020. I don't know when it's going to drop, but 2023 has been, so far, a pretty decent year for gaming. Let's just hope we keep tugging in this direction, especially when it comes to communication. Shroud, please, you're not going to be listening. I know you're not going to see this video, but please, communication is key. It is key. You of anybody else in the universe would know this. I don't even know why I'm bothering to explain, because I know you already know this, but for anybody in this video, yes, communication is key. That is the form of success. That's one of the best ways to grow any game, no matter what size it is, and build it into an empire. But ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like. Mom say hate it, leave a dislike. Also, if you're brand new, enjoy the content, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button. Also, want to chat with me, there's a way to do so. I have a Twitter and Discord, both linked down in the description. And also want to catch me live streams of video games still on Twitch. Link that's in the description as well. But guys, thanks so much for tuning in. See you all next one. Peace out.